a violent noir detective anti-hero and the chief protagonist of the Watchmen series. With a black and white worldview and an uncompromising moral code, Rorschach is well known among the criminals as the terror of the underworld. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the comic book origins of Walter Kovacs, aka Rorschach. His origin goes, the son of a prostitute and an unknown father, the young Walter Kovacs was raised in poverty. Physically and emotionally abused by his mother and occasionally by her Johns, he was removed from her care following an incident in which he severely injured two bullies. He was placed in a children's home where he thrived and remained until age 16 when he became a garment worker. Deeply affected by the murder of Kitty Genovese, he fashioned some cast-off material into a mask and became the masked crime fighter Rorschach. He continued as a relatively benign hero for several years, working occasionally with Night Owl until he was involved in the investigation into the kidnapping of a young girl. Spending several days investigating, Rorschach found that the child had been murdered and fed to dogs shortly before he arrived. Horrified, he killed the dogs and burned the killer to death. This event galvanized his instability, driving him to forever abandon his identity as Kovacs and to describe the Rorschach identity as his true self. Rorschach's creation. Rorschach was created by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons. He made his first appearance in Watchmen #1. He is closely based on the comic book characters The Question and Mr. A. His major story arcs include Before Watchmen, investigating an organized crime operation dealing primarily in drugs and prostitution. Rorschach is beaten and left for dead. Severely wounded, he is committed to a hospital by the waitress at the Gunga Diner. He continues to hunt for the gang while developing a tentative relationship with the waitress. During a citywide blackout, he is captured by the gang, but manages to escape following the deaths of both the leader at the hands of the mob and his second-in-command, who was killed by a tiger. Later, he joins forces with Night Owl and becomes involved in an investigation into missing and murdered prostitutes. Simultaneously, he is working for a reverend who is ultimately revealed to be the culprit. He is captured and nearly burned to death by the reverend, but rescued by Night Owl. He stabs the reverend through the chest with his picket sign, declaring that it had to be done. In the infamous graphic novel Watchmen, following the murder of Edward Blake, whom he soon discovers to be the comedian, Rorschach becomes increasingly obsessed with unraveling the web of conspiracy that surrounds him and the mystery which continues to permeate the lives of the former masked heroes. He begins warning fellow masked heroes that he believes a masked killer is operating and may target them next, though most brush him off. He visits the home of former villain Edgar Jacoby, who explains that a distraught Blake had visited him a week previously. Following Dr. Manhattan's self-exile after allegations that he gave them people close to him cancer, Rorschach becomes further convinced of a sinister plot. This view is strengthened when Adrian Veidt is the target of an assassination attempt. He receives a note apparently from Jacoby requesting a meeting so he can provide Rorschach with further information. Rorschach goes, only to find that Jacoby has been murdered and somebody has set him up. He is sent to prison and remains there for some time before using a riot and a subsequent attempt by a former enemy to seek revenge. To escape, his escape is aided by Night Owl and Silk Spectre. Together with Dryberg, he visits several sources seeking information, along the way unraveling the nature of the conspiracy, including the revelation that Veidt had been orchestrating events all along. After posting his journal to a newspaper, Rorschach and Dryberg travel to Veidt's headquarters in Antarctica. There, he and Dryberg confront the man, and he easily bests them in physical combat. Veidt is able to convince all the gathered heroes to allow his plot to fake an alien invasion of New York to continue, but Rorschach refuses to compromise. He attempts to leave the compound and reveal Veidt's actions, but is stopped by Dr. Manhattan. Still unwilling to compromise, he demands that Dr. Manhattan kill him, which he does. In the Doomsday Clock, sometime after the events of the Fox New York alien invasion, a new Rorschach appeared, breaking a couple of criminals, Mime and Marinette, out of prison. He drives the couple over to Night Owl's base of operations, where it is revealed that this new Rorschach was working with Ozymandias, who has been a fugitive after his role in the fake alien invasion was exposed to the world, albeit reluctantly. Veidt then reveals to the three new arrivals that they needed to locate Dr. Manhattan. For powers and abilities, Rorschach possesses no superhuman powers or abilities. He is in excellent physical condition and is a skilled gymnast and acrobat. He is a pragmatic and efficient hand-to-hand combatant with extensive training and experience in boxing and street combat. He's very resourceful and has demonstrated a particular gift for improvising weaponry. He is stoic and unmoved by pain or physical discomfort, and has a very strong will which enables him to shake off or ignore exhaustion or wounds. He is very intelligent and a gifted tactician, which is heightened by his mental instability and thus unpredictability as an opponent. He has demonstrated great competency in espionage, infiltration, interrogation, and investigation. So are you a fan of Walter Kovacs, aka Rorschach? Make sure to let me know in the comments below. And of course, as always, I'd love to see you all next time.